What are the main functions of the pandeiro player in a small samba group or a roda de samba, or a circle of samba musicians? Well, in my opinion, there are two. The first one is the condução, or the driving rhythm, or what I sometimes refer to as the straight ahead samba rhythm. And if we count samba in 4 beats, the surdo bass drum, which is responsible for supplying the pulse in the samba. Sometimes this function can be fulfilled by the tam-tam drum as well. The surdo will play a muted note on 1 and 3 and an open note on 2 and 4 as its most basic pattern. So like boop, boom, boop, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the condução rhythm is simply taking each one of those main beats and subdividing them into 4 smaller beats. So like boop, boom, boop, boom, taka chica, taka chica, taka chica, taka chica, ta. On the pandeiro, we're going to play those subdivisions as thumb, fingers, heel, fingers, thumb, fingers, heel, fingers. If you're new to the pandeiro, I definitely recommend you check out a few other tutorials that I posted previously to our Learn to Play Samba YouTube channel. The first one is a basic pattern for samba on the pandeiro, Condução. The other 2 are a basic pattern for samba on the pandeiro, Partido-Alto A1, and a basic pattern for samba on the pandeiro, Partido-Alto B1. Okay, but definitely check out Condução and Partido-Alto A1 before coming back and joining us here for this tutorial. All right, so another thing that I'm doing here when I'm playing this Condução rhythm is I'm muting and unmuting underneath the head of the pandeiro to simulate what the surdo is doing, right? The surdo is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm playing that same rhythm here on the pandeiro, but I'm just filling in all the other notes as well. So I'm going 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Okay, so we're only accenting the thumb stroke. The fingers, heel, fingers are quiet. Okay. Now, this pattern, if you're familiar with the basic patterns for samba on, for example, the caixa, the rhythmic, the tambourine, the chocalho or ganzá, or even the reco-reco, one of the basic patterns for the reco-reco, it's very similar. All of those patterns are also playing the subdivisions, but the difference is that for those patterns, we're not only accenting the first of the 4 notes, but we're accenting the 4th one as well, but not as loud as the first one. So, taka chica, taka chica, taka chica, taka chica, ta. Okay? In this case, for this most basic version of the condução rhythm on the pandeiro, we're just accenting the first subdivision. We're not accenting the 4th at all. In other versions of the condução rhythm, we can sometimes accent the 4th subdivision of the beat with a slap, for example. But for now, we're just going to play this most basic version of condução, which is just accenting the first note like this. Okay, so this is just the most basic version of condução. Of course, we can get very complex with condução. We can play all sorts of variations. But now let's move on to the second main function of the pandeiro in a samba band or roda de samba, which in my opinion is to play the Partido-Alto. Partido-Alto is a style of samba featuring call and response vocals, and it's typified by or characterized by a series of typical rhythms traditionally played on the pandeiro. Now, there are all sorts of different Partido-Alto rhythms. I've divided them into 2 main families, which cover many of them, if not most of them, which would be what I arbitrarily refer to as Partido-Alto A and Partido-Alto B. The patterns that I'm calling A start right on the beat, on beat 1, and what I'm calling Partido-Alto B are patterns that start right after beat 1, right on the 2nd subdivision of the beat, on the E of 1. For now, we're just going to be dealing with what I call Partido-Alto A, and the most basic version of Partido-Alto A, which I call Partido-Alto A1. These are just my terms, okay? So, Partido-Alto in general, the patterns are broken patterns. We're not playing all the subdivisions of the beat. We're leaving some of the subdivisions empty. All right? So Partido-Alto A1 goes like this. Thumb, thumb, slap, thumb, slap, thumb, slap, thumb, 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 thumb. 1 E, up, 2, and 3, and 4 E, up. 1 E, up, 2, and 3, and 4 E, all 1 E, up, 2, and 3, and 4 E, all 1 E, up, 2, and 3, and 4 E, all 1 E, up, 2, and 3, and 4 E, up. Now, just like for the Condução, we're going to simulate what the surdo does. This is kind of it's not a rule, but let's call it like a general tendency on the Pandeiro is very often when we're playing Samba, we're going to mute beats 1 and 3, the full duration of beats 1 and 3, and we're going to unmute the full durations of beats 2 and 4, no matter what we're playing. I mean, sometimes when we're playing variations or whatever, that can change, but this is just kind of a general tendency. So it's important to learn how to do that. All right, so we're going to do that same thing. We're going to go, here's a mnemonic device I use to teach this pattern. I like to play Samba and do. 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 Without the mnemonic device. So now that you know at least one, what I consider to be the most basic Condução rhythm or straight ahead Samba rhythm, and what I consider to be the most basic Partido-Alto for what I call Partido-Alto A, I'm calling it Partido-Alto A1, how can we put these together in a song? Well, very often the Partido-Alto rhythms are only used for songs that are in the Partido-Alto style, but also they can sometimes be used in other types of Samba songs that don't have those call and response vocals that are typical of the Partido-Alto, which typically involves shorter choral refrains and verses that are more elaborate and traditionally improvised, sometimes in the form of a duel between two singers. But in any case, let's pick a song called Conselho by Almir Guineto, a classic Samba song. And for the quieter part of the song, I'll play the Condução. And when we get into the higher energy part of the song, I'm going to play the Partido-Alto. Now, this is very typical. It's not a rule, but it's very typical. We can also just play the Partido-Alto through the whole song. But in this case, I'm going to show you what it sounds like to go back and forth between the Condução and the Partido-Alto. This is just an example, okay? Doesn't mean that we have to play the song in this way. It doesn't mean we have to play these particular versions of Condução or Partido-Alto, but this is just an example to get you started, to give you some ideas for how you can accompany Samba songs on the Pandeiro. All right? So it'll give you a good solid foundation for getting started in playing the Samba on the Pandeiro. All right? So here we go. Starting with Condução, number 1, and going into Partido-Alto A1. Deixe de lado esse baixo astral, ergue a cabeça, enfrente o mal, que agindo assim será vital para o seu coração. É que em cada experiência se aprende uma lição. Eu já sofri por amar assim, me dediquei, mas foi tudo em vão. Pra quê? Se Se em sua vida pode encontrar quem te ame com toda a força e a dor, e assim sucumbirá à dor. Tem que lutar, não se abater. There you have it, an example of switching back and forth between Condução and Partido-Alto. In my opinion, the two most important kinds of rhythms or functions of the Pandeiro player in a samba group or a roda de samba. All right, keep in mind that again, there are many different versions of Condução, many different versions of Partido-Alto, many different ways of playing these rhythms. Not to mention many different variations, an infinite number of possible variations that can be played. So this is just a starting point, but I feel it will give you a strong foundation for being able to play samba on the pandeiro. All right, so hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know. If you'd like to delve into the pandeiro further, I give private coaching online. We also have a Samba New York online academy, which you can find at Samba New York Online Academy.teachable.com. And in that academy, we have a course on the Pandeiro called Pandeiro Basics. You can try it out for 7 days for free. There's a 7-day free trial. And after that, if you'd like, you can subscribe on a monthly basis or an annual basis. And a cool thing about our Samba New York Online Academy is that you get access to a WhatsApp group, a private WhatsApp group in which you can ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer your questions on there. And you can be part of a community of other learners of the pandeiro and other samba percussion instruments. So give that a try if you'd like, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.